wasn't such a long time ago. You cranked and you heaved, and maybe if you did all the right things, you could get that one-cylinder engine to wake up. And she sat there in a duster and a great big hat tied on with a veil. She sat there. There was always the guy who hollered, "Get a horse," and drove one past you to prove his point. Even in those early days, women had an influence on automobiles. But they did get started, and they were going somewhere. People and automobiles. Think how far in half a century. The roads changed from dirt to asphalt as more people bought cars. Autos got better and fancier, with one-man tops, if you'll pardon the expression, and a certain amount of streamlining. Roads were changing again, this time from asphalt to concrete. Women were learning to drive. The American public was at last ready for the family car. That was in 1926, when people were dancing the Charleston. It was a brand new car for Americans, named after a great American, an Indian, Chief Pontiac of the Ottawa tribe. Here was a marvel of engineering and design. No other popular priced car of the day had so many new and unusual features. A car with six, count 'em, 6 cylinders instead of the conventional 4. A crankshaft drilled for pressure oiling and dynamically balanced. You could get this car in a variety of colors with a smooth Duco finish. All the engine controls had been removed from the steering wheel and put on the dash with indirect panel lighting. Driving in bad weather was made safer by one of the first automatic windshield wipers. And the ladies loved that new style. Matter of fact, you'd almost say the engineers knew more about style than the dress designers those days. The engineers remembered the night driver, too, and introduced the first foot-controlled dimmer switch. Did the folks need to see any more? All right, one more first, eh? The first popularly priced car with windows that could be rolled up and down. No more tugging, no more sweltering. So the coming out party was a big success. But the Pontiac engineers kept right on searching, testing, improving. Year after year, they made automobile history. Does it seem long ago that Lindbergh flew the Atlantic? That year saw a new fuel pump. It fitted an efficient downdraft carburation system, the same system used on all cars today. They were the first engines with a built-in thermostat. Again, all cars have them now. Remember when Rudy Valley became the top crooner? Then you'll remember the racket the valves used to make. An ingenious valve spring dampener was added and things got quieter. There were no more broken valve springs either. And that same year, every important rotating part in the engine was balanced dynamically. Another important change. The power plant was mounted on a neutral axis. The result, greatly reduced vibration. Then in 1930, when the miniature golf craze swept the country, engine performance was bettered again, this time by tin plating the pistons. It's still done today. And that same year, eliminated transmission noise with a quiet helical second gear. That's the way things went. There were a lot more mechanical improvements in the next few years, a flood of them, including a new straight-eight engine. But by this time, people were becoming style conscious. They were talking about streamlining. So in 1935, the first Silver Streak model blazed out. They called it the most beautiful thing on wheels. More years, more models. Wrong Way Corrigan made headlines the same year Pontiac startled the automobile world by mounting the gear shift lever on the steering column for the first time. Great Britain declared war on Germany, and in 1941, when Kate Smith had everyone singing, "God Bless America," in that year alone, the public bought more than 283,000 Silver Streak automobiles. Then, war. Men of the United States dropped the promises, the skills, the successes of civilian life and went to war. Pontiac did the same. Instead of automobiles, Pontiac built fast-barking automatic cannons and deadly aerial torpedoes, 5-inch rockets, 155-millimeter shells, and whatever else its know-how and machines could make to help plain men win a tough fight. It was the first automobile company to be awarded both Army and Navy E's. People remember, and when the war was over and the big parade, those people were waiting eagerly for the big parade of new cars. To meet the peacetime demands, new plants went up all over the country. New assembly plants were erected at Framingham, Massachusetts, Atlanta, Georgia, Kansas City, Missouri, and Wilmington, Delaware. The pre-war assembly plant at Southgate, California, a suburb of Los Angeles, was expanded, and so was the one in Linden, New Jersey. But it was the home plant in Pontiac, Michigan that saw the most activity. Building after building went up to house more and more production and engineering facilities. Where 25 years ago there were only fields and pastures, there now stands one of the most modern automobile factories in the world. 10 miles of railroad track run through those buildings. Yes, the plant's pretty big, all right, but there's an easy way to go through it. A ride on the Chieftain.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure to welcome you to the Pontiac factory. As we move through the plant, please observe our safety rules. It takes 8 cupolas to produce molten metal at the rate we use it. Everything is on the move in here, no matter how big or heavy it is, how heavy or how hot. This fellow is pouring engine blocks. This one is cracking them out of the mold. Pontiac builds its own engine, castings and all. A lot of precision machining goes into a block as it moves from the foundry to the assembly line. For surfaces that must be smooth, a whole series of cutting tools shave off metal to exact dimensions. Holes for cylinders and valves are first rough bored, then reamed to close tolerances. It takes hundreds of operations to produce the parts that go into a modern automobile engine. There are parts of almost all sizes and shapes, some strange, some familiar, like valves and valve springs, connecting rods and pistons, oil pump shafts, camshafts, clutch plates, flywheels, and a great many more. And every part must be closely inspected before it goes to the assembly line. All rotating parts, like the crankshaft, are dynamically balanced to minimize vibration. These are checked and rechecked to assure perfect balance. When the block is completely machined, it's ready for the assembly line. Here is where the care used in making those parts pays off. Every piece fits perfectly, will function perfectly. As one operation follows another, an engine takes form. After 213 operations, 23 inspections, the foundry's hot casting becomes a power plant, ready for the testing block. Here they're checked for timing and oil pressure, and final adjustments are made before the transmissions are put on. Here's a hydromatic, but there's more to a car than an engine. Let's look in and see a little of how rear axle assemblies are made. Some of the parts that make up these assemblies are axles, axle housings, springs, gears, and brake drums. Those gears were cut out of a bar and shaved to exact dimension right here. Then hardened just right in the heat treating department to give them long life. Everything goes together under the watchful eyes of the inspectors. While on a nearby line, the front end suspensions are assembled. Then both front and rear finished units start their journey to the main assembly line. In another part of the factory, busy hands are making parts that give beauty and grace to a car. A flat sheet of steel is cut to size. Then it's partially formed and welded. It goes into a giant press that gives it a 300-ton squeeze and comes out looking like a fender. But it still needs a whole battery of presses to perform the many other operations that are necessary to make a fender with smooth and graceful lines. Two complete batteries of presses are used, one for the left fender, one for the right. Then the fenders, hoods, and other pressed parts are sent on conveyors to be painted or plated with chrome. Parts to be painted go through a chemical bath that removes rust and grease. The clean metal gets a primer coat, which is dried in the oven before the first coat of paint is applied. Then the parts go back to the drying ovens again. In all, 4 coats are applied, each coat baked on. Finally, the buffing operation, to produce a finish that is beautiful, smooth, and lasting. The parts that are to be plated go to another plant, the largest of its kind in the world. More than an acre of steel is plated here every day. Chrome plating is a big job if you do it right. The copper is buffed to a high polish. Not until then are the parts ready for the final tanks, from which they emerge gleaming in their weatherproof armor of chrome. Plated parts and painted parts come together in sub-assembly areas, here to become the front end of an automobile. Because every Pontiac is built to special order, every sub-assembly from bumper to bumper is made for a particular car. Yet all the assemblies and parts of that car must meet at the right place on the main assembly line at exactly the right time. This miracle of coordination is accomplished by the central scheduling office where all incoming orders are received. Here, the customer's preference in color, upholstery, body style, engine, transmission, tires, accessories is telegraphed to 18 departments. Each department sends its parts or sub-assemblies to the main line on a schedule so precise that they arrive at the very second they're wanted. The bodies are also being made to order, 3/4 of a mile away in the Fisher body plant, and they come to the line through a long tunnel. Parts by the thousands flow into the main assembly line from all over the plant, some on trucks, some on conveyors. At the first station on the final assembly line, a frame is placed on the conveyor. More than 10,000 parts will be added to this frame during its journey down the line. The skilled hands of hundreds of men and women will completely assemble an automobile in less than 2 hours' time. The line itself is about 1/3 of a mile long, but for the first 400 feet, the frame travels upside down. Hydraulic brake assembly. There's no clutch pedal on this car, which means it's a hydromatic. Perfect timing. This 8-cylinder engine meets the chassis for which it was destined at exactly the right moment. There's no haste, no confusion as these chassis move by. Every piece finds its place. Every hand lends its own special skill. This is teamwork, a kind of teamwork we invented here in these United States. Transportation in the making. Only about half of all the Pontiac automobiles are assembled on this line. The rest are built in the other assembly plant. Rubber shims to cushion the body. And now, for the first time, down on the wheel. Serial number. "58 times an hour on this one assembly line, the right body with the right accessories meets the right chassis with the right engine, transmission, and wheels. 58 times an hour. Remember those front end assemblies? They're right on schedule, too. This perfectly synchronized movement of men and machines is the secret of modern production. It's the thing that makes possible a finer product at a lower cost. Better value, dollar for dollar. End of the line. The world is richer by one automobile as this machine comes to life and moves off under its own power. As they come off, every car must have its wheels aligned. Every car must get a final inspection, the last of some 7,000 that covered all parts and assembly. Every car gets a road test.
For the men who build these, there is satisfaction in watching them roll away. They are proud of them. And they know that every Pontiac Silver Streak automobile will be driven with pride by a satisfied owner. Only the designers and engineers are never satisfied. These are the planners whose eyes are fixed always on the future, who seek forever to achieve new beauty in color, line, and form. New heights of endurance, utility, performance. These are the men whose goal must ever be some further degree of perfection. Every year, Pontiac builds better automobiles. This, then, is the promise for the future. Every Pontiac will continue to be proudly built and proudly owned, as it ever has been through the years.
beauty, gleaming brilliance, and lustrous splendor, no floral pageant can equal Pasadena's glorious Tournament of Roses. Here on New Year's Day is held a festival to which the floral wealth of Southern California contributes in lavish profusion. Flowers of every form, color, and variety, flowers prized for their remarkable beauty and delicate fragrance, make this fete a truly awe-inspiring spectacle. Beauty, radiant beauty, here it is. From the colorful brilliance of the floats themselves to the radiant splendor of each separate rose that proudly stands as the acme of floral perfection. A flower to which John Keats' poetic words, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever," might well apply. The new Pontiac, like the beautiful rose, also stands for perfection. Perfection of beauty, strength, and utility. And it is with the greatest of pride that Pontiac announces 3 smartly attractive automobiles for 1939. A startling big deluxe 6 of entrancing beauty and value with a 120-inch wheelbase. A silky smooth, highly dependable deluxe 8 of similar design and wheelbase, and most important of all, an attractive, high-value, low-priced, economical quality 6 with a 115-inch wheelbase, which is destined to establish a new high standard of value for the entire industry. What can describe the glamorous appearance of this new motor car? The magic of words, the colors of the artist, the beauty of song. It would take all to express the beauty and smartness of this, the newest member of the Pontiac family, the new Pontiac Quality 6. For the 5th consecutive year, Pontiac's glistening and glamorous silver streak, flanked on either side by artistic vents which cleverly define the radiator shell, lends a new degree of charm and distinction from bumper to cowl. Thrilling to observe is the shapely contour of Pontiac's sleek, streamlined alligator-type hood, which rests snugly between 2 broad, newly designed fenders with slightly ridged crowns, and merges artistically with the sparkling setting afforded by Pontiac's new chrome grills, which direct an abundant supply of cooling air to the radiator. A sprinkling of detail refinements, such as new bumper and bumper guards, new frankly modern radiator ornament, which serves also as a dual safety hood lock, new radiator nameplate, newly designed headlamps, which merge gracefully with the fenders, new wheels with chromed hubcaps of distinctive design, and sparkling chrome hood grills complete the pleasing front ensemble. Thrilling is Pontiac's shapely yacht line silhouette, made possible by General Motors' skillful designing and painstaking research. New and artistic is the shapely rear design, whose smartly fashioned rear license bracket and light grace the center of the luggage compartment door, the light also serving to illuminate the trunk lock. The spacious interior of this roomy compartment is made possible by placing the spare tire against the rear seat back, by eliminating the wooden shelf, and by providing a convenient tool compartment with hinged door below the trunk floor. But Pontiac's new beauty is by no means confined to its brilliant exterior. Wide doors open to reveal the same flat floors, custom type upholstery, safety roll and robe cord, which enhanced the value of Pontiac for 1938 and have again been retained and further enhanced by newly designed chrome hardware with flat plastic knobs. Improved visibility is made possible by the single pane rear window and the narrower windshield corner posts. A new rear quarter window control permits the glass to slide backwards without swinging. The roomy, spacious front compartment, steering wheel, steering column, safety shift lever, emergency brake lever, pedal pads, floor mat, radio and heater, all finished in warm tan, blend harmoniously with the new curved instrument panel, which is finished in California walnut, flanked top and bottom with panels of rich, solid brown. The glass enclosed instrument group on the left of the panel is artistically balanced by the glove compartment door on the right, while the lower center section is recessed to receive the safety control knobs in molded plastic. Pontiac's new T-spoke steering wheel provides a new degree of safety by permitting an unobstructed view of the instrument panel. And the safety shift gear control, standard on all models, promises newer and fuller motoring pleasure for 1939. Through skillful engineering of the same type as used in the design and construction of streamlined trains, improvements have been made in performance and economy without sacrificing Pontiac's rugged stamina in any way. In addition to the numerous features of the Quality 6, the two deluxe models have more front seat width, more legroom, more glass area with resulting improved vision, lower floors which are practically level with the curb, making running boards or skirts optional, more useful trunk space, chrome belt molding which enhances outward appearance, and concealed door hinges which add materially to the exterior beauty of the car. More than ever before, this spectacular line of 3 new cars, the Deluxe 6, the Deluxe 8, and most important of all, the Quality 6, set even higher the rigid Pontiac requirements of safety, performance, and economy. And any one of the trio may safely be called the car you'll be proud to own in 1939. Every year throughout the nation, north, east, south, and west, the eyes of America, young and old alike, are focused on the most thrilling, a most spectacular game of action, football. The thud of pigskin on cleated boot, the flashing speed of agile runners, the crashing impact of hurtling players send surging thrills of high excitement through the crowded stands of rooters. Players and fans alike rivet their attention on this mighty game, a game that calls for rugged durability, speed, stamina, and control of every man who plays it. A game that demands weeks of steady, hard, grueling practice for perfection, but demands perfect teamwork, perfect cooperation from every member of the team. Many are the football heroes who hope to win a place of honor on the coveted All-American team, because All-American means perfection, the best, the most rugged, the most agile, the most enduring, and only the player who possesses all these qualities can ever hope to become an All-American. And so it is with motor cars. Drivers today demand All-American performance, demand a motor car with stamina, agility, and smooth change of pace. And for 1939, Pontiac has won 3 places of honor on the All-American team of motordom, with smooth engine performance for power, durability, and best of all, economy. This rugged, high-value, smooth Quality 6 engine makes this newest member of the sturdy Pontiac family the most economical, the most dependable, the most logical car for 1939. How do the 3 Pontiac cars perform? There is no test for power, durability, speed, dependability, smoothness, and economy to which the Pontiac has not been subjected here on the General Motors Proving Ground, where every type of road condition has been simulated, and out on the everyday highways and byways of the nation. Year in and year out, day and night, Pontiac drivers and engineers literally give these cars the works, building, testing, tearing down, and rebuilding to make your Pontiac the safest, most dependable, and most economical thing on wheels. Look at that car go. Watch how it grips the pavement as it swiftly glides along. No bouncing vibrations in the wheels. This car almost steers itself. Let's stop it. A slight pressure of the foot and Pontiac's improved multi-seal hydraulic brakes do all the rest. A perfect stop with lightning swiftness. Pontiac's new type door lock requires a very slight pressure to close the door securely. making it no longer necessary to bang the door to close it. And more good news for all who enjoy real driving comfort. The improved safety shift gear control, pioneered by Pontiac last year, becomes standard equipment on all Pontiacs for 1939. And the absence of obstructing shifting levers affords ample room for 3 front seat passengers. Within easy reach of the driver, the shift positions are the same as though the conventional gear shift lever had been bent over on its right side. From first to second, from second to high, or from high back to second, this modern safety shift smoothly performs its job with no effort at all. Equipped with booster spring, which with the new redesigned transmission cuts shifting effort up to 50% of that formerly required, the shifting lever on the steering column, adjustable to suit the driver's reach, has been greatly improved through simplification of design with smaller and less conspicuous parts. Safety from jolts and jars is important. Improved shock-proof knee action for 39 gives a smoother, a safer ride than ever before. Both wheels up, both wheels down. One wheel up, one wheel down, up and down and up. It's all the same to Pontiac's perfected shock-proof knee action, stabilizer bar, and linked parallelogram steering, which means a gliding, comfortable, safe ride at any speed, on any road, under all conditions, at all times. Now watch this. The slow motion camera shows just what's taking place when a car gets punishment like this. Out on the highway, the new Pontiac eats up the open road. Smooth, fast, steady. On good roads or bad, the powerful Pontiac can dish it out. New improvements in acceleration control permit lighter pedal pressure, which produces the pleasing effect of more instantaneous pickup and getaway. And how this rugged car can take it. Mud, mud, and still more mud, but no damage here. The vital parts of the Pontiac are safely sealed from mud and mire, or loose sand and dust. New for 1939 is the smooth, shimmyless linked parallelogram steering, which holds the car steady over the severest of bumps or turns. Ease of control, plenty of comfort, plus ample power, economical power, are reasons why Pontiac performs in the true all-American fashion. Whether it's quick stopping, fast getaway, or just the plain rugged ability to take it, the ability to give perfect performance at all times, the ability to respond quickly, safely, economically to every demand, Pontiac is the car that will stay with you and see you through to the very end of the game, all of the games, making you prouder than ever of your new Pontiac for 1939. The mighty United States Navy, the first line of defense, gigantic battleships, huge aircraft carriers, mighty dreadnoughts, flashing cruisers guard the safety of our shores. Supported in the sky by speedy air armadas, and under the sea by long, sleek submarines, our Navy stands a protective bulwark behind which the safety of our country remains secure. But the Navy's strength lies not alone in the tough steel armor plate of the battleships, the power of the great engines, the guiding eyes of the airmen, or the crashing thunder of its big guns. That strength is equally dependent on the men who have planned all this, those men who have devoted years of study and effort to make every type of ship in the fleet synonymous with security, strength, and protection. And so it is with Pontiac, straight through the waterhole, drenched from top to bottom in a man-made flood. Yet Pontiac's sealed barrier against water and the elements prevents even the smallest drop from seeping through. And now feel how Pontiac's powerful engine accelerates upon the slightest urge, ensuring plenty of reserve power when the power is needed. Safety, too, for quick, smooth stops is guaranteed by the improved multi-seal hydraulic brakes. Pontiac's stronger, new, and improved brake linings ensure safer stopping and minimize brake fading when quick stops are frequent. Like the pride of the Navy, the pride of motordom is constructed of the strongest type body steel for safety. Steel body, steel floor, steel panels, steel doors, steel cowl, steel turret top. In the Pontiac body, there is all-around steel protection, top, bottom, and sides. Mounted on a newly designed safety bridge-type frame, recognized as the strongest type in the industry, surrounded by laminated safety plate glass. The new Pontiac is a car of safety that protects the motorist all the time. The newly designed windshield gives better visibility than ever before and permits a full, safe range of vision on both sides of the car as well as in front. And when the sun goes down, multi-beam headlights turn night into day for safe driving everywhere. The driver's seat may be moved forward or backward for complete driving comfort by the easily operated control lever located in front of the seat where it can be conveniently reached. A new factor in convenience and safety for 1939 is the T-spoke steering wheel, which gives an unobstructed view of the instrument panel. From the sturdy safety of Pontiac's invincible engine to the powerful, sure action of Pontiac's 650 horsepower braking ability, the objective of Pontiac engineers has been to make Pontiac a car of maximum safety. These practical safety features, both large and small, were designed to make these three cars safe for the motorist every second of the time he's in them, day or night, rain or shine. Planned safety and planned engineering make this new Pontiac the greatest motor value in all of Pontiac's illustrious history of producing fine motor cars. Economical motor cars, safe motor cars, and like the powerful ships of the Navy, the Pontiacs, the cars you'll be proud to own, are synonymous with safety, strength, and protection. Around the world, 15,000 miles by air, over mountains and deserts and angry seas, through wind and storm, hail and sleet, to set a record of achievement acclaimed in every corner of the earth. Such was this spectacular globe-circling flight in 3 days, 19 hours, and 8 minutes. A new triumph over the elements by man and machine. But this thrilling flight was more than just a stunt, more than just the cool daring of courageous men out to conquer the skyways. It was a scientifically pre-planned flight in every detail, from the swift silver monoplane equipped with every safety device, every bit of modern flying apparatus engineers have been able to design, to the careful selection of the sturdy members of the crew. A flight so thoroughly pre-planned that practically any one of the airline pilots of this nation could have done the same thing with similar equipment. And so it is with Pontiac, the car that is so thoroughly planned and engineered that motorists can always count on its complete dependability all of the time. Every instrument, every gauge relays dependable information to the driver. Gas supply, oil pressure, water temperature, speedometer can be relied upon to tell dependable stories every day of the year. The large 15-plate battery is conveniently placed under the hood where it is easily reached for servicing, and the Pontiac heavy-duty generator makes a light load of the drag made by the ignition, radio, heater, defroster, lights, clock, and horns. Forced air circulation control featured by Pontiac permits a cool, gentle current of breeze to circulate throughout the car, eliminating dangerous, uncomfortable drafts. For dependable winter circulation control, the heater has been placed directly under the center of the dash to ensure an even distribution of warm air. And in summer, when connections to the engine are shut off, the heater circulates fresh, cool air. Well, may this sturdy, powerful Pontiac be called the truly dependable car. With the strong resistance of its safety bridge-type frame, steady vibrationless link parallelogram steering, front stabilizer bar, and Pontiac's new single diaphragm spring clutch, which includes improvements ranging from simpler construction, fewer parts and less weight, to smoother engagement and lighter pedal pressure. A notable improvement in riding comfort made possible by Pontiac's new rest ride with duplex springing, an ingenious combination of variable rate rear leaf springs, power cushion drive, and newly designed hydraulic cushion levelators results in one passenger being able to ride with the same comfort as six. Pontiac's new rear springs include the combination of a light spring to accommodate small loads ingeniously mounted directly over a second auxiliary spring, which comes into action as the load increases, ensuring a smooth, gliding ride all of the time. From the factory to the showroom, Pontiac's story is one of precision, of exactitude, a story of constant improvement in design, materials, and engineering to achieve perfection of every part that goes into your car. Exactness of manufacture, checking and rechecking every car against all the conditions it can possibly meet, is Pontiac's way of ensuring dependability, durability, safety, and performance in every car that comes off the assembly line. Dependability to Pontiac is not a mere word, a mere adjective describing some of the features of this great car. Dependability is Pontiac. Pontiac is dependability. Dependable because the sturdiest materials, the finest engineering, and a most thorough system of checking and testing demand the best in all of the parts, for all the new Pontiacs, all of the time. Highland music, Highland gaiety, Highland laughter, Highland thrift. To all the world, the canny Scot stands as a symbol of savings, the model of thrift. Thrift, a natural character trait of great honor, denoting wisdom and common sense. It requires careful thought, careful study, the ability to judge values and then get value received. Today, more than ever, the science of economy is playing a larger part in the affairs of men. A dollar saved is a dollar earned is an old axiom still followed by all careful purchasers, whether they are buying food, clothing, or automobiles. And Pontiac, with its three-point economy of low price, low cost of operation, and low maintenance, leads the way in dollars saved. Pontiac stands not for power alone, but power scientifically blended with economy. Low fuel consumption without sacrificing the thrilling performance of which Pontiac is justly proud. The compact fuel pump ensures an even flow of gasoline into the carburetor. The fuel preheater increases the vaporization of every drop of gasoline, allowing none to be wasted. And the gas selector is easily adjustable to all regular types of gas. The automatic choke is constantly standing on guard, regulating the exact amount of air and fuel necessary for smooth starting. Complete redesigning and use of fewer parts has simplified the mechanism of the carburetor to the point where it handles gas more economically and easily than ever. And new baffles placed in the float chamber maintain fuel level when turning sharp corners. Again this year, from the famous Pontiac laboratories have come new improvements in the thrifty Scotch mist manifold, lighter in weight but equally substantial. This year's manifold makes doubly sure of an even, uniform distribution of gas to every cylinder for greatest efficiency. Pontiac pledges economy. Economy in every purring beat of its smooth, steady engine. Economy which has resulted from years of producing fine motor cars, thrifty motor cars. Whether it's on the steepest mountain grade or the straightest paved highway, the thrifty performance of the Deluxe 8, Deluxe 6, and New Quality 6, the smooth flowing power guarantees sturdy, reliable operation at the lowest consistent cost. Truly super values from the super cars. You'll be proud of Pontiac's majestic beauty, rich, stylish, harmonious. You'll be proud of Pontiac's all-American performance, smooth, sturdy, powerful. You'll be proud of Pontiac's priceless safety, secure, reliable, protective. You'll be proud of Pontiac's rugged dependability, dependability that will take you there and bring you back. You'll be proud of Pontiac's economy, of low price, low cost of operation, and low maintenance. For $1939, Pontiac offers high dollar value in all three cars. Beautiful appearance, roomy new improved Unisteel bodies, economical 6- and 8-cylinder engines of unusual smoothness and quietness, improved safety shift control, new clutch, transmission and rear axle, new riding comfort made possible by Pontiac's New Rest Ride with Duplex springing, all expertly woven together into a pattern of rugged dependability and attractiveness that fulfills the Pontiac pledge. You'll be proud to own a Pontiac.
This year, more than ever, Pontiac is particularly proud of the new appearance of all four models. Let's look at them more closely. Here is the new member of the Pontiac family, the Torpedo 8. Any way you look at it, this big car, with a wheelbase of 122 inches, is in a class by itself. And this is the Deluxe 8. It has a wheelbase of 120 inches. Notice the long, low lines. Next, the Deluxe 6, also 120-inch wheelbase. Certainly a big package for the money. There is a trim-looking car. And the 117-inch wheelbase Special 6 is without a doubt the finest engineered, low-priced car ever to bear the Pontiac name. Yes, sir, Pontiac this year has 4 fine-looking automobiles. And in addition to their smart appearance, they're tops in comfort, performance, and safety. Let's examine the Special 6 more closely. Here's a car that has everything: size, performance, comfort. A really big automobile and priced within a few dollars of the lowest priced cars. See how Pontiac's silver streak matches the flowing lines of the safety Unisteel body. The nameplate, radiator grills, and double bar bumper dress up the front end, and the chrome belt molding sets off the whole distinctive appearance of the car. The powerful sealed beam headlamps of new design merge with the fenders. Notice the ornamental parking lamps mounted directly above. And the new anti-skid tire tread provides better, sure-footed action in all weather. Chrome trim on the windshield and the running boards add a distinctive touch to Pontiac's general appearance and give it snap and sparkle. And the rear end is just as graceful as the rest of the body. The dual tail lamps are standard equipment on all cars this year, and the attractive luggage compartment provides ample space for your traveling bags. All in all, Pontiac has really gone in for glamour this year. Its wider, longer, and lower lines bear the mark of the new beauty treatment and at the same time give greater comfort, performance, and safety. Now let's take a look inside. Here is where fine workmanship counts. Little touches of quality, headlining, matching control handles, window trim, and rich-looking upholstery provide a smartly tailored interior. Compare it with any car, and you will see why Pontiac stands head and shoulders above the rest. No doubt you've heard a great deal about front seat room. Well, Pontiac has really done something about that by providing ample space for 3 full-size passengers with extra elbow room for the driver. And look at the instrument panel. It's not only striking in appearance, but the instruments are placed where they can be seen without straining or stretching. The radio grill is placed in the center of the panel for better reception. See how the chrome-rimmed plastic hardware brightens the inside appearance. Details, yes, but it's just such details that make Pontiac outstanding. Now enjoy real comfort. And the front seat is adjustable too. Pontiac's adjustable safety shift gear control has been made even easier to operate this year. Little more than a flip of the fingers is needed to shift smoothly into any gear. Pontiac's increased glass area gives you greater visibility, makes it easier to gauge front fender clearance, and less tiresome to watch high traffic lights. Now try the rear seat. It's a real pleasure to ride in such comfort, and there's plenty of room for 3. The low floor makes it easy to step in and out. And here's something that means greater safety. Glass that is more resistant to shock and yet is more yielding when struck. Yes, sir, the new high-test safety plate glass in the windshield and all the windows is really flexible and is 4 times as strong as ordinary safety glass. Air conditioning is a much abused term as far as automobile comfort is concerned, but Pontiac has met this problem by offering a choice of heating or cooling equipment accessories for any kind of weather. Working in combination or alone, the dash-mounted heater, the underseat mounted heater, and the defroster and fresh air intake will make a ride in your Pontiac a pleasure in the hottest weather or on the coldest day. You won't find more automobile for the money in appearance, size, comfort, or safety anywhere. It simply can't be done. And as for performance, dependability, and economy, let's look at the facts. Take the chassis, for instance, which is completely sealed from one end to the other. Feature for feature, all the way through, Pontiac matches the highest-priced cars for engineering and fine workmanship, and there isn't a single important feature that Pontiac does not have. The adjustable safety shift gear control, originated, pioneered, and introduced by Pontiac, has been widely copied. But with its many improvements, there is still only one safety shift. The combination of a rod selector and improved synchromesh transmission results in a far easier and quieter shift. Pontiac's high-point rear axle gives better performance in smoothness and quietness. There's another sensational engineering development by Pontiac, Duflex rear springs, which add to the fine riding qualities of the 1940 cars. Shockproof knee action permits softer springing with better and safer steering control. And the combination of the Duflex rear springs, knee action, and hydraulic cushion levelators with new valves makes possible the finest ride you've ever experienced. The sensational Pontiac New Rest Ride. The roughest roads are leveled out for 1 passenger or 6 with no bumps or jolts. You hear a lot of talk about car handling these days, but what does it mean? All you have to do to find out what fine car handling is to drive a Pontiac. You can turn corners without pulling your arm out of joint, and after the turn, the wheel returns promptly to the straight-ahead position. The steering wheel doesn't tug at your hands, arms, and shoulders. it's as steady as a rock. And on any highway, the Pontiac holds a straight course without weaving all over the road. There's no dancing rear end on bumpy, rutty roads. And you can park in a small space with a minimum of effort. This particularly fine job on steering isn't the only feature that makes Pontiac car handling so good, but it's a good example of how thoroughly all phases of car handling are engineered into the car. Pontiac is the finest handling car available at any price. And when you drive a Pontiac, that tired feeling disappears for good, even after long hours of driving over the roughest roads. Now take this frame. The safety bridge-type construction really gives it strength. It's built to stand up under terrific punishment. The single propeller shaft, free from extensions, allows smooth transmission of power from engine to rear axle. And Pontiac's famous power cushion drive assures a smooth start when this power is applied. With the single spring disc clutch, you get noiseless gear engagement and pedal pressure that's as light as a feather. The improved synchromesh transmission with new roller bearing countershaft operates in smooth combination with the safety shift gear control. As a result, shifting is silent and effortless, not only under usual driving conditions, but going down hills where the engine may be used as a brake by shifting from high gear to second or low. The powerful sealed beam headlamps adopted to meet national safety requirements are adjusted and sealed at the factory. They spread a strong pattern of light over the road directly in front for a minimum of 120 feet and light up objects on the right up to the fence line. The finest kind of safety insurance is to be found in Pontiac's multi-sealed hydraulic brakes. They're always dependable, and you'll like the easy effort it takes to bring the car to smooth, quick stops. From any angle, Pontiac will stand comparison with the very best of cars. Check the starting, clutch and gear shift action, steering on straight roads, in loose sand and bumpy roads, and you'll be surprised what Pontiac offers in comfort, safety, and performance. It's hard to believe that a low-priced car could be so good. And for economy, well, the Pontiac engines are just plain miserly. They give more miles per gallon, low oil consumption, along with easy starting, fast acceleration, smooth operation, and long, trouble-free service. Some things sound pretty technical, like high compression ratio, spark plug location, shear type engine mounting, and axle ratio. But they have a lot to do with the superior engine power, performance, and economy found in the Pontiac 6 and 8 L-head engines. The Scotch Mist manifold is correctly named. It really saves money. With it, every cylinder gets an even flow of gasoline vapor, with the result that you get greater power with less fuel consumption. The fuel pump, equipped with a new filter, provides a steady, sure flow of fuel to the carburetor, and this results in still better engine performance, economy, and dependability. The improved and simplified carburetor is so designed that the fuel level is not affected by sharp turns. This gives you surefire acceleration while rounding corners and curves. Other mechanical features, such as the automatic choke, steel tube fuel preheater for quick warm-up, and the vacuumatic spark control, each play a part in keeping the engine at highest efficiency with the least cost per mile of service. This year's generator has been stepped up to meet the heavier electrical load caused by the stronger headlamps, air conditioning demands, and other electrical accessories. And the current and voltage control regulates the supply of current no matter how fast or how long you drive. But there are two other factors which are essential to dependability, long life, and economy. They are lubrication and cooling. Both find their highest development in Pontiac's 100% full-pressure metered flow lubrication and automatic all-weather engine temperature control. With Pontiac's lubrication system, oil is forced under high pressure to all engine bearings and is metered as it reaches the connecting rod bearings so that regardless of wear, each connecting rod bearing receives just the right amount of oil. In the Pontiac, oil is forced directly to the piston pin bearings through rifle-drilled connecting rods. This means positive, safe lubrication at all times. With Pontiac's automatic all-weather engine temperature control, you don't have to worry about efficient engine operation regardless of weather. Water temperature is automatically controlled to bring engine temperature up to highest efficiency in the shortest possible time. To help keep the engine from overheating, Pontiac has full-length water jackets with water completely around all cylinders instead of around groups of two, a system used in many cars today. In addition, gusher valve cooling and water recirculation help to make Pontiac's automatic all-weather engine temperature control more economical and add to Pontiac's flashing performance and long engine life. In the Pontiac, you get 100% pressure suction crankcase ventilation, which means that at low engine speeds, when ventilation is needed most, harmful gases are carried away with the same certainty as when operating at high speeds. Improved for 1940, there's a new inlet and outlet, both equipped with filters. So you see, there isn't a single important mechanical feature that can't be found in Pontiac, and many of them can't be found anywhere else except in the highest priced cars. No wonder you get such great performance and almost unbelievable economy. There are no shortcuts to value in a Pontiac. From all over the nation, owners take it upon themselves to report on the high quality of Pontiac cars. And there's a reason such wide acceptance doesn't just happen. You should look in on the General Motors Proving Ground and see how Pontiac tests every feature that becomes a part of the car. And don't think these tests are ordinary performance tests. Out here, engineers deliberately go looking for trouble and do everything imaginable to make it happen. Tests for speed, tests for endurance, tests for safety, comfort, dependability, economy. Give the right answer to Pontiac engineers. Pontiac meets these tests to a surprising degree. And why not? Pontiac's great engineering and manufacturing facilities are such that Pontiac is able to build America's finest low-priced car. Day and night, week after week, the drivers of the Pontiacs literally try to tear them apart. Out on the concrete speedway, unceasing speed tears at the vitals of the car. If there's anything wrong, it shows up under this punishing speed. Over sandy corduroy roads, up steep rocky hills with the devils of wear and tear wrenching and jerking at body and chassis every mile of the way. Sloshing and churning through muck and mire, the wheels biting their way through the slippery ooze with sure, steady power. Across open country, over rutty bumps and rock-strewn ground, the grueling jolting and jarring of the high-speed pace demands super strength such as built into every Pontiac. Out here at the Proving Ground, Pontiac motor cars are punished to a degree far beyond the demands of the severest service. But they're punished for a reason. Will it wear? Will it bend? Will it overheat? Will it break? But most important of all, will it stand up? Any good salesman can tell a convincing story about a piece of goods, and bang-up advertisements can shout quality product to the housetops. That's true of automobiles, same as anything else. But there's only one absolute test of motor car quality, and that is how it performs for you after you put your money into it. After you buy a car, it doesn't take long to find out whether you bought a real automobile or just a lot of conversation. And here is where Pontiac comes through like a thoroughbred. That is why Pontiac meets the hardest test of all, the test of owner satisfaction, a test which makes Pontiac the car for pride and performance.
late again, Jimmy. I suppose he stopped off at the service station again with the car, as usual.
Oh, Mom, I'm hungry. You know that car will get him home all right. Just the pops that are crummy. Well, he's just not a very good driver, that's all.
Guess you're right, Jimmy. I never did hear anyone call him Barney Oldfield Jones. He certainly ought to be here before very long. Listen. The head of the family has arrived.
Yes, sir, that's my pop.
Did you hear me drive in, dear? You see, the transmission...
You don't need to explain again, Oliver. You hit that big chuck hole in the driveway where it comes close to the house. The car bounced. You went into second gear, and the side of the car just missed the breakfast room.
Yeah, that's about it. You know, I've been thinking... Oh, well. Let's eat.
Listen, Oliver. Must we go along all our lives owning a car that's just good enough to get by? That's just, well, a plain, bare automobile? That car rocks and leaps and jumps on every little hole or bump because it's so short. And another thing, that hand shift is so old-fashioned and the car simply doesn't drive decently. Oliver, what we need in our car is a, what do you call it? An integrated powertrain.
Hey, Mom, where'd you get hip to that kind of talk?
That's what the man said this afternoon.
What man?
The man, the salesman from the Pontiac dealer. He called, and I let him come over.
You let him come over? I never heard of anything so silly. You, of all people, Mom, know that we simply cannot afford anything but...
Pop, we don't buy the lowest price of everything we get.
Who said anything of... Say, are you in on this, too?
I mean, look at that lawnmower you use. That's no Armstrong job. It's got a motor. On our TV set, the screen's 20 inches. And the washing machine, it's automatic. We all decided they were worth the difference in price.
And the steak you bought, dear. You know very well that's no pot roast. And remember the last time you wore your dinner jacket, how you tried to save money by buying the very cheapest so-called patent leather type shoes? And they turned out to be oilcloth?
Go on.
Oliver, even besides the money part of it, there's the, oh, I don't know how to say it, the matter of pride, I guess it is. I've been noticing the neighbors' cars. Look at the Smiths. With all their money, they can own any car they want, and they love their Pontiac.
Mm-hmm.
Other people seem to be able to progress, to keep stepping up a little as they get older. That's a very important thing to a family, Oliver.
That Pontiac salesman certainly gave you the full treatment, didn't he? Pass the cream.
If you'll promise not to curdle it.
This is milk in this coffee, isn't it? You've never served milk before, and...
But, Oliver, that's the very, very cheapest thing to put in coffee, you know.
Okay, Mom. We're the Joneses. Let them keep up with us. Now, just when did you make the date for us to see the new Pontiac? The car with the integrated powertrain made up of high-compression engine, dual-range hydromatic drive, and high-performance economy axle. The car with the power you want, when you want it, where you want it.
Say, how do you know so much about the Pontiac?
Oh, I read and I listen. I like to keep up to date, too.
I made the date at the sales room for late tomorrow afternoon, dear.
Mrs. Jones, it's nice of you to come in.
Oliver, I want you to meet Mr. Wright. This is my husband.
How do you do, Mr. Jones? And Jimmy, how are you?
Hi, Mr. Wright.
Well, there's the car I told you about. Just take a look at it from here for a minute. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's sure smooth. That car's got scat, even when it's standing still. Looks like it's going to take off.
Jimmy, I want to explain one thing right now. The Pontiac is designed and built to run on the ground, to run well, and to hug the ground, so it rides nice and smooth, even on rough and rugged roads.
What? No jet power? No skyrocket takeoff? No stratospheric zoom?
Power and zoom, yes, Jimmy. But this car isn't for the wild blue yonder. We think of this car as a good, solid automotive citizen. A fine, up-to-the-minute car with such flashing performance.
Say, before we talk about this car, I want to know how much you're going to allow us on our old one.
I'm going to give you that figure, Mr. Jones. But before you make any decision, you'll need to know all you can about the value you're getting in the new car. Isn't that so?
Makes good sense. What about accessories? Do we have to take a lot of the...
Mr. Jones, with a Pontiac, you buy only the accessories you want. Now, this is a duotone of Mayflower and Potomac blues. You have a choice of 9 solid colors or 3 other duotones you know. How do you like the car's looks, Mrs. Jones?
Oh, it's beautiful.
The most beautiful thing on wheels, it's been called. That means your Pontiac will stand out among all other cars. You'll have a car you can take real pride in. Now, to give you just a few of the features, notice the little styling touches that help make the Pontiac so different from other cars. For instance, the hood ornament, the ultra-modern upper center bar, and the colorful nameplate, the smart new wheel disc, the twin-stream side moldings, and the good-looking trunk door handle and nameplate.
I see you still have the silver streak there.
Yes, and that's the most distinctive in the industry, Mr. Jones. You can always tell a Pontiac, coming or going. While we're here, I want you to see how the trunk lid practically lifts itself. Excuse me, please. Would you like to try it, Mrs. Jones? Look at the room you have in this carry-all luggage compartment and the way the spare tire is placed so it's convenient to get at. Now, let's look at the interior. Get right in here, Mrs. Jones, and see for yourself how roomy and soft and comfortable these seats are. Mr. Jones, would you like to get in here? Notice the extra wide doors and
Man, these lines are really dry lake, Pop. And that goes for street, strip, or drag. Why, with this, we wouldn't even have to chop the top or channel it.
Wouldn't have to what?
Oh, I think Jimmy's just given us the hot rod okay, Mr. Jones. He means the lines of the car are plenty smooth without having to lower the top with a hacksaw or make it narrower. And see how smart and modern the styling is, even down to the last little detail. What do you think of it so far?
Just
Looks
wonderful.
pretty good to me.
You have your personal choice of fine quality tritone check pattern trim materials to go with the car color you select. They're not only luxurious and long wearing, they're extra soft, so they're safe. You said yesterday, Mrs. Jones, that you take your sister's little boy out for rides in the car. Well, this entire car is designed to keep you and yours safe and well protected. For one thing, a simple adjustment on the door lock fixes it so that when the button is down, the kids can't open the door. That's it. Another thing is that you can see out better in every direction with the exceptionally wide windshield, side, and rear windows. Now, this is the famous Body by Fisher. Just a moment and I'll show you. It's extra safe because you can see here, it's solid steel, ribbed, welded, and braced into a single strong structural unit. Listen to this. You can tell there's real quality and safety there just by the sound. While I have this here, I want to show you our twin duct ventilation system. You'll see it's built right in, not added on. You can drive even in heavy rain or snow with all windows closed and still get plenty of fresh air. Now I want to tell you about the big performance feature that gives you two important things: greater economy and at the same time more power. We call this big Pontiac feature dual range performance with integrated powertrain. And it's made up of high compression engine, the new dual range hydromatic transmission based on engineering principles proved by more miles of driving than all other automatic transmissions combined, and the new high-performance economy axle. Each of these powertrain units is specially designed to work with the other to give you the power you want, when you want it, where you want it. And what's more, every Pontiac is built to last 100,000 miles. That means dependability. What I've been showing you is the new dual-range hydromatic Pontiac. You can have the synchro mesh manual gear shift if you want. And in any case, you have your choice of two power-pack Silver Streak engines, the straight 8 or the 6. But whatever you choose, when it comes to brilliant performance at low cost, Pontiac's right on top. That's because the power and the economy are built right in.
Just what is this new dual-range hydromatic drive?
It really means that you can have a car with two different kinds of power, and that you can always use the best power from each to fit driving conditions.
Like having two different engines, you mean?
Yes, in a way. And you can use the most efficient power from either one for driving in the city or on the highway. In traffic, you want quick response and flexibility, so you use this position. For cruising in the country, you do this. You've still got flashy pickup, but the engine's taking it easier. You get a quieter ride, even more gas mileage, and there's less wear. That's dual range. And of course, there's no clutch at all. You know how tired you can get driving in traffic lineups. Here, you just step on the gas, steer and stop, and dual range hydromatic automatically does the right thing, even to starting on slippery paving. But you really have to drive it to see all its advantages. My Catalina's out here. If you want, we can take a demonstration ride, and you can test drive it yourself.
I'd love to.
Okay.
Let's go. Man, oh man, these Pontiac engineers really dig for go, don't they? With this, I could prune anything at a green light.
Yes, the Joneses are learning, each with his own wants in mind, that it pays to step up to Pontiac's spectacular dual-range performance. Their friend Salesman Wright has demonstrated the advantages of a high-compression engine. He's covered such outstanding features as the Scotch Mist manifold for more power from less fuel, the built-in permanent oil cleaner that never needs replacement or new filters, the downdraft triple Venturi carburetor with its great efficiency and economy. The Joneses learned the advantages of high-compression engine and dual-range hydromatic in hill climbing, how this drive makes much better use of engine braking on downgrade. They see how easy it is to rock the car in sand, snow, or mud, and how Pontiac dual servo brakes last longer and give smoother, safe stops because they are triple sealed to keep out water and dirt. They discover how Pontiac's long 120-inch wheelbase and its springs and hydraulic cushion levelators float the car over the roughest road and smooth out the deepest chuck holes, and how easy parking becomes even for Mom Jones with Pontiac's remarkable True Arc safety steering.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wright.
I'm only too glad to have this chance to show you how easy it is to step up from ordinary driving to a better kind of car ownership and enjoyment. Now, Mr. Jones, we can go over the allowance on your car and the other details if you'll step in here, please.
Mr. Wright, nice going. Now see if you can sell him on getting a big, shiny snort pipe for the exhaust, eh?
Just a minute, Jimmy.
it's sure good to know that Pop will be on time these days. Do you realize that he hasn't missed by a minute ever since we got the new Pontiac? That was quite a long time ago. I wonder what can be keeping him. Where do you suppose he could be?
Oh, he'll be along, Mom. Maybe he's finally gone to see someone about fixing that chuck hole in the driveway. There he is now.
Nothing to it now. Why, that dual-range hydromatic will make even a good driver a better one.
But, Oliver, why are you so late?
Listen, I think good news is worth waiting a few minutes for, isn't it? You know what? I stayed late and did a little figuring on the investment that we have in the car. And it worked out just the way I said it would in the first place. I knew all the time that dollar for dollar, you can't beat a Pontiac.
Is Pontiac. Looking at it this way, Pontiac might seem to be just a lifeless sort of thing, a cold corporate being. But Pontiac is much more than the mere implements of manufacture. It's a human thing, a vital, spirited organization of men. Men working together to build quality and integrity and character into Pontiac cars. And men working together to sell Pontiac cars in more than 4,000 dealerships. Yes, it's men like these, men of Pontiac, who have helped so much to achieve the company's great record over the years. For Pontiac's long, rich experience goes even deeper into the past than most people know. In 1907, the Pontiac buggy became the Oakland car, named after the county in which it was built. 2 years later, the company joined forces with General Motors. From then on, progress was fast. In the year 1926 came the first car to bear the great name Pontiac. And here, right at the very start, Pontiac established its unique strategic market position with a quality car built to satisfy all those who want something better than just the very lowest priced. Pontiac pioneered in progress by originating scores of major product improvements because it provides a lot of extra value for only a little more investment. Pontiac has consistently been able to sell more cars than it could produce. To keep pace with this tremendous demand, Pontiac's ultra-modern plant facilities have been expanded until they have become a veritable city in themselves. But this great city within a city simply could not exist without the help of this man. A man who does his work out on the far horizon of Pontiac endeavor. The final important link between Pontiac and the public it serves. This is David Strong. Looking at David, you wouldn't be aware of anything very unusual. He's just an everyday, steadfast sort of guy, a nice guy. If you were to check up on him, you'd find him listed in the pages of the city directory as, here it is, Strong David, SLSMN, 1327 Maple. How little those letters tell. For the people Dave works for and the people who make the product that Dave sells know him for his full stature and worth. They know him as David, husband of Ellen and father of 3 other responsible citizens, each one very important to the others. They know what it is he works for. For Dave Strong is a successful man. He's a member of a good profession. The profession of giving indispensable help to his neighbors in his community. The profession of selling. And he finds in his work all pride of accomplishment and the honest respect that are so important to any man. His income is substantial, and it's steady. His future is secure. Dave Strong is a Pontiac salesman. In fact, the man for whom Dave works was and still is a Pontiac salesman. But you must understand, Dave is a lot more than a guy with a glad hand, a gift of gab, and a shoe shine. He isn't out on that floor on his own. He's a representative of all the people in the dealership. And they depend on him to know the right thing to say and the right time to say it. For selling is not instinctive. Just about everything Dave Strong knows had to be learned. And now all he has learned, along with the know-how of thousands of other salesmen, has been gathered together to help you, the men of Pontiac, reach your destination dotted line.
You know, it's been said that all you have to do to sell is to influence others to favorable action. It's as simple as that, and it's complicated. To me, selling isn't a cold, hard science. It can't all be written down and learned word for word. It's an art. For example, if you were trying to sell this prospect, you'd talk to him in a certain way. But if you were trying to sell this person, you'd convey your story in an entirely different way. Sure, for some guys it's just a job, but to me it's a permanent lifetime profession. You see, I figure that no sale is ever a good sale unless everyone involved in the deal is better off for it. I do the best I can to sell every car the right way. I don't sell just an automobile. I sell a whole package, a package of future pleasure and service, wrapped up with all the facilities and manpower of this dealership. There's real personal satisfaction and more money in that kind of selling. The idea is not to make a few isolated, disconnected sales, but to build up a permanent, continuing clientele of steady customers that'll pay off for years to come. Selling automobiles is one thing. Selling Pontiac automobiles is another. The Pontiac is different from any other car. It's easier to sell. And one big reason for this is the fact that Pontiac has the greatest public acceptance of any car in or near its price group. That makes our work simply a matter of transmitting ideas, of communicating what we learn about Pontiac to other people. So I keep saying to myself, listen, Dave, if you can get the prospect to know as much about Pontiac as you do, he'll never buy any other car. Another thing, look at the growing passenger car market. For years, the trend has been generally upward. And in proportion, Pontiac sales over these same years have gone even more sharply upward. Project these sales lines into the future, and we see increasing opportunity for you and for me for years to come. Opportunity unlimited. And you know, one reason the profession of selling Pontiacs is such a great opportunity is that you have so many facilities furnished without having to invest a penny of your own. I'm in business for myself here. I don't have to pay any of the cost, no rent or upkeep. I've got skilled people to help me, but I don't have to meet the payroll. My merchandise is bought in stock for me, but I don't have to lay out a dime. I've got millions of dollars worth of advertising and publicity to help me in my work, and it doesn't cost me anything. I've got financing facilities available to make it easier for my customers to pay, but I don't have to loan anybody anything. A car is the average family's biggest purchase, you know, next to their home. Tremendous sums of money are spent for me every year in research and product improvement just so I'll have better cars that are easier to sell year after year with features that appeal to all types of buyers. For all this, I risk exactly nothing. Then there are all the selling tools I'm furnished to work with. The finest sales tool of all, of course, is the Pontiac car itself. I know that it pays to learn every detail of my product and to demonstrate the features to all my customers. With Pontiac priced just above the lowest, we can offer luxury, quality, and performance that can't be matched by some cars priced hundreds of dollars higher. What a sales tool that is. This Pontiac sales album is my library. It has all the facts. Pontiac's low depreciation, for instance, will open the eyes of the toughest buyer. With this section of the album, the job of nullifying competitive over-allowance is easy.
This device will help you satisfy any customer's personal tastes in car color and trim. This Feature Finder handbook gives you the selling features of all your used cars. Along with a good reconditioning job, this sales tool will help you move those makes that are hard to sell. Used cars are important to all of us, you know. And there are other sales tools, too. Displays, banners, window trims, and so on. All these facilities and tools are given to you. All you're asked to put up is your natural intelligence, a full, fair share of your time, and a little neatness and good taste in that important selling tool, your appearance. That completes the deal, except for just one thing. That's sales know-how. That's for you to furnish, and only you can furnish it. There's no better way to get know-how than to start out with the Pontiac Success Fundamentals and take this direct route to our destination dotted line. You're on your way, boys. Just remember, the more you help others, the more you help yourself. The very best of luck, and keep your windshield clean.
This is a typical Pontiac dealership. Tom Hall is one of its successful salesmen, and this is Mr. Douglas, one of his prospects. Tom is reasonably sure that he's going to sell Mr. Douglas a Pontiac. The prospect seems favorably impressed with the car and has listened to Tom's sales talk with interest. But something tells Tom that Mr. Douglas is a man who likes to raise objections, the sort who would object to a crease in a free $20 bill. Mr. Douglas also gives the impression of having shopped around, and he knows, or thinks he knows, quite a lot about automobiles.
Why doesn't Pontiac go in for this extreme modernistic design like some other cars do?
There are three types of objections: the honest objection, the test objection, and the stall objection. Tom has decided this first objection is an honest objection because it is based on a special feature of the car. Honest objections arise because the prospect wants more information, or possibly because he's been misinformed or misled. Tom answers the objection by pointing out the fact that Pontiac has never featured extreme novelty, here today, gone tomorrow style trends. Pontiac, however, purposely maintained its individuality since 1935.
And due to this fact, we can boast the best record for resale value in the industry. No Pontiac owner has ever been stuck with a freak. That's why we call her the most beautiful thing on wheels.
Maybe so. But what about horsepower? Some cars advertise very high horsepower.
This is another honest objection based on misinformation. Tom explains that it is not the amount of horsepower that counts, but the balance between the horsepower and the weight of the car. For example, both a horse and a rabbit operate very efficiently because of a perfect weight-power balance. Now, if we switched their power, the rabbit with the power of a horse would tear himself apart in one jump, and the horse with the power of a rabbit couldn't even move. No, it's the balance of power that counts. And Pontiac's engine, transmission, and axle are in perfect balance with the weight of the car under normal conditions. Honest objections are usually made in quest for information. Most of them can be answered by means of the sales album or a demonstration ride. If one arises that cannot be answered satisfactorily, simply assume that the objection applies to a former model and that it does not apply to the current model, which has been improved.
What's the cylinder displacement? And at what RPM does the engine develop its maximum horsepower?
This This is a test objection. Mr. Douglas may or may not know what he's talking about in asking these questions, but he will instantly begin to lose confidence in Tom if Tom doesn't know the answers. Mr. Douglas gets a little more technical information than he quite knows what to do with. Tom has done a good job meeting Mr. Douglas' test objections. Every objection, confidently and accurately met, is a step nearer the dotted line.
Well, as I said, I've looked around. I want the best car for the money. Now then, what has the Pontiac that the Slick Trick 6 doesn't have?
This objection shows Tom that somewhere he's slipped up on his selling. However, it's too late now to go back and fill in. Instead, he replies that Pontiac is always glad to be checked against a competitive product.
As a matter of fact, the Pontiac engineers don't spend much time worrying about their competitors. Their job is to give the customer what he wants. And the fact that the greater portion of Pontiac business consists of repeat sales proves that the public gets what it wants when it buys Pontiac.
I heard that Pontiac introduces a lot of new ideas, always experimenting. I don't want to buy an experiment.
Pontiac is a progressive company. It was first with foot control, high and low headlamp beams, fuel pumps, and gear shift levers mounted on the steering column, and many other items. But any innovation is so thoroughly engineered and tested that it is by no means experimental by the time the public sees it.
Suppose I did buy a Pontiac. What about service? I heard that the service at this dealer's is a little,
Mr. Douglas, come with me. I'd like to show you our service department.
The service manager explains the facilities and policies of the dealership to Mr. Douglas. Tom knows the importance of selling the dealership to a prospect. He doesn't know if Mr. Douglas has really heard anything unfavorable about the service, but he does know that if Mr. Douglas is shown the full facilities and operation of the service department, it is bound to make a favorable impression on him. And it is a confident, forthright attempt to answer his objection.
Well, I don't know. Seems like a lot of money. I don't think I can afford a new car right now.
Is this an honest objection or a stalling objection? If Mr. Douglas is stalling to get out of buying, Tom had better stop wasting time with him. But maybe Mr. Douglas really can't afford a new car.
Mr. Douglas, perhaps you'd like to see some of our used cars.
Nope. If I buy a car at all, it'll be a new car.
This reply tells Tom that Mr. Douglas can probably afford a new car, but is still stalling. This means more selling on Tom's part. He suggests that Mr. Douglas needs the transportation that a new Pontiac provides, and shows him the real economy of a new car. As a part of his sales knowledge, Tom knows about how much it will cost Mr. Douglas per day to own a new Pontiac. He names this figure and suggests that Mr. Douglas is probably paying that much for transportation right now.
Well, maybe I can afford it. What'll you allow me on my old car?
Tom can't answer this question until he knows the quality of the deal he can make. And he will not know this until Mr. Douglas has selected the model, optional equipment, and accessories. It's up to Tom to adroitly sidestep this question until Mr. Douglas himself helps to answer it for him. That is, it depends on what Mr. Douglas buys: the model, optional equipment, accessories, and even the date of delivery, since the used car market can change overnight. Tom knows that the allowance objection can only be answered at the time of closing the deal, and he is not near that point yet. He must postpone the discussion of allowance.
Why don't you appraise my car? It's in excellent shape. Tires like new. I waxed the car myself. Paint is perfect. Have the best mechanic in town go over the engine. New rings, new spark plugs, brakes relined. Why, it's in excellent shape.
Tom is glad to hear that Mr. Douglas' car is in such good shape and says that they'll get a hold of the appraiser shortly. Meanwhile, what Pontiac model would suit him best?
I didn't say I was going to buy a Pontiac. At least I won't make up my mind today.
Tom feels that this stalling objection cannot be overcome by further selling on his part. He therefore shifts his selling effort toward obtaining a definite appointment with Mr. and Mrs. Douglas for a demonstration ride. He cheerfully says that there's no hurry. why doesn't Mr. Douglas take the album home and study it at his convenience? He will call and pick it up later.
Notice how the color scheme blends through here.
I think this one is just beautiful.
No, wait a minute, Martha. We're not buying yet. I've got a business deal coming up next week. Works out all right, I'll phone you.
I see. I'm glad you've decided on Pontiac, Mr. Douglas. It's unfortunate, however, that you've decided to put off buying until next week, because we have this model in the color scheme favored by Mrs. Douglas, ready for immediate delivery. I have my Pontiac parked at the curb. Why don't we all take a drive and you can see for yourself?
Oh, I'd love to. Just wait a minute and I'll get my hat.
Tom knows that by getting Douglas to drive, he will make real progress without further selling on his part. A new Pontiac is a very eloquent salesman. Seeing a stretch of dirt road, Mr. Douglas decides to find out how the Pontiac handles the bumps. Mrs. Douglas comments on the smooth riding qualities of the car. Mr. Douglas has driven up this hill 100 times, but never with the ease and power of a Pontiac. Mrs. Douglas decided to drive back.
It's simply heavenly.
You say we could see that model today?
Yes, sir.
Could we drive it home? I mean, if we bought it now?
You most certainly can, Mrs. Douglas.
All right, dear.
This year at the automobile shows throughout the country, all former attendance records were broken. Hundreds of thousands of people examined the new automobiles, and many of them bought immediately. Pontiac salesmen took more orders and secured more prospects than in any previous year. This fact proves the splendid acceptance of Pontiac for 1941, because these people had bought Pontiac after they had seen and heard about all the other cars of the show. To give you a better idea of the tremendous appeal of the new Pontiac torpedo fleet, let's listen to this presentation of the new Pontiac just as it was made at the automobile shows. And you'll understand why everyone who saw all the cars said Pontiac is the chief of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, now I don't pretend to be a magician, but with the assistance of these young ladies, I'm going to show you some practical magic. Now I don't mean tricks. I mean unusual features, magical devices which work wonders in giving you better performance and greater comfort in the new 1941 Pontiac. For example, here we have Pontiac's new front grille, massive in design and beautifully chrome-plated. Now, you'd never dream that it concealed the parking lamps, would you? But here they are, out of the way, perfectly streamlined, and yet plainly visible when you need them. Here, I know you're big and handsome, but stop flirting with these young ladies until I finish telling the people about you. It is just such engineering magic as this that has made possible Pontiac's torpedo styling. The new design that means, well, more room, greater comfort for all the passengers, more economical operation, and ultra-smart appearance. And now I suppose you wonder why the young lady is standing up here. Well, this is a display of magic. But I'm not going to make her disappear. I'm not going to saw her in half. But I'd like her to tell us what she thinks of the new 1941 Pontiac.
Well, I don't know very much about engines or gears or things like that. But I certainly like Pontiac styling. This silver streak has distinguished Pontiac for 7 consecutive years. Makes Pontiac stand out from other cars. And it really blends into the new torpedo design. And I like the way they're streamlined, too. The fenders blend right into the hood. And everything is built in. The headlamps are built into the fenders. And the bumper brackets are concealed under this built-in stone shield. All of the door hinges, and even the gas tank filler cap are concealed. These new Pontiacs are big and roomy. They look graceful, too. with beautiful chrome trim to bring out the speed lines for a really smart appearance.
Thank you, Miss Gillespie. And now for my next demonstration of Pontiac magic, I'd like you to look at the sides of the car. You will notice the absence of outside running boards, so that this part of the car is smartly streamlined. But as the young lady opens the door, you see the low, curb-height built-in running boards. Now, you don't see them when the doors are closed, but they're there when you need them, and mud and snow and ice cannot accumulate on them during bad weather. And now, as the young ladies step into the car, I'd like you to note how low the step is, how wide the doors are, how easy it is to get in and out. And now here is some more Pontiac magic. As I utter the magic word, we're going to show you just how luxuriously comfortable these new Pontiacs really are. Are you all ready? Open sesame. Now, I wouldn't advise you to try this on your own car. It probably wouldn't work. But look at this front seat. A seating width of 60 inches. Are you comfortable, girls?
I'll say we are.
You wouldn't have a little extra room in there for a boyfriend, would you?
There's always room for one more in a Pontiac. This wide seat leaves extra room for the driver to operate the car without disturbing the other passengers.
Say, there is more room in here than even I imagined. Oh, by the way, Miss Thompson, would you show us how Pontiac safety shift gear control works?
Why, this shift is practically automatic. All I have to do is to guide the lever into position with my fingertips.
That's right, Miss Thompson. A booster spring attached to the transmission does most of the work. How about the clutch?
Why, just the weight of my foot is all I need to push the clutch pedal all the way down.
Yes, the clutch is also semi-automatic in action. After you start the clutch pedal down, the booster spring completes the job of disengaging your clutch. So that this year, well, Pontiac has just taken all of the work out of gear shifting. Say, I'd like to sit here all day, girls, but I've got to get back out front and tell the people about Pontiac's many other features. And the new 1941 Pontiacs are amazingly easy to handle on the road. The longer wheelbase, the wider rear tread, when combined with the action of the front stabilizer bar and the rear cushion levelators, gives the car greater stability.
And Pontiac's true arc steering keeps the wheels in line as they rise and fall, so that they're not fighting each other and fighting the driver as you go around curves and past other cars. You can drive a Pontiac all day long without that tired feeling.
And now if I were a real magician, why, I'd just summon my magic carpet and I'd show you how comfortably these new Pontiacs ride. But since I can't do that, I'm going to ask one of these young ladies to tell you about Pontiac's ride. Miss Callender, didn't I see you riding through the park in one of these new Pontiacs last night?
Yes, and it was a wonderful drive. He was tall, dark, and handsome, and had the most marvelous eyes.
Wait a minute, Miss Callender. We want to know about Pontiac's ride.
Oh, well, I've ridden in a lot of cars, but I've never ridden in a car that rode as smoothly and quietly as that Pontiac.
Thank you very much, Miss Callender. That's just what we wanted to know. Now, the best way to find out how comfortable it is to ride in a new Pontiac is to drive one yourself. I think you'll agree that Pontiac engineers have used some sort of magic to give this beautiful new car the easiest ride you ever experienced. Now, of course, our engineers would tell you that this ride is due to balanced weight, suspended from shock-proof knee-action units in front and Duflex springs on the rear. They call it the triple cushioned ride. But anyway, we know it's easy to take.
Why, everything about this new Pontiac is easy to take. And Pontiac's hydraulic brakes are easy, too. They bring you to a smooth, safe stop. And you don't have to stand on the brake pedal to make it take hold.
And they're self-energizing, too. You just start the braking action, and the self-energizing feature does all the rest. But here is the greatest of all of Pontiac's magic, the economical Pontiac L-head engine. All moving parts are balanced so that it is quiet and smooth in all speeds. You have 90 horsepower in your 6th and 103 horsepower in your 8. And there's plenty of reserve power there to carry you over the steepest hill. And both the 6 and 8 are economical on gas and oil. On Pontiac engines, everything has been made automatic. An automatic thermostat warms up the fuel mixture when starting. Another regulates the water temperature. An automatic choke control regulates the richness of the fuel mixture. And a vacuumatic spark control regulates the ignition, so that all you have to do is step on the starter and then step on the accelerator.
But, Mr. Kimball, I think it is marvelous the way that Pontiac has designed their cars so that you may have your choice of a 6 or an 8 in any model.
That's right, Miss Gillespie. And the best part of it is that the 8 costs you only $25 more than the 6 in any model. And now I'm going to ask 2 of the young ladies to step out of the car so that you can see the luxurious interior of Pontiac's new Fisher body. And now, Miss Callender, there are a number of Pontiac's interior features which we can't see very well from out here. Would you mind pointing them out for us?
This interior is really beautiful. The color tones of the upholstery, the instrument panel, the steering wheel, and the trim are all especially rich-looking, and yet they're soft and restful on the eye. The instruments and hardware are all chrome-plated and inset with plastic, so they really look like fine jewels. The cushions and seat backs have been thickly padded, like in a custom-built car. And the coverings are well-fitted, so they have a smartly tailored appearance.
Thank you, Miss Callender. Pontiac's Unisteel bodies by Fisher are not only luxuriously beautiful, they are soundly constructed of one solid unit of steel for maximum strength and safety. Now, we do not advocate that you tear the upholstery out of your car to make your wife or your girlfriend a coat. But in order to show you how rich-looking Pontiac's new upholstery really is, we have had the coat, which these young ladies are wearing, made up of exactly the same material that Pontiac uses in the seat cushions and seat backs. This first coat is made of Canada cloth, a new type of upholstery fabric which combines all the fine features of mohair velvet with the best features of other types of upholstery fabric. Now, this material is optional on the Deluxe Torpedo 6 and 8. Also optional on the Deluxe Torpedo and standard on all of our Streamliner torpedoes is the beige corded wool cloth from which this coat is made. And now, exceptionally smart, is the wool cloth supplied on our Super Streamliners and custom models. I'd like you to note the twin pinstripe, which gives that material a two-toned effect. Now, I have mentioned only a few of Pontiac's many extra value features. Altogether, there have been 129 improvements made in the 1941 model. In addition, there are many extra value features which have given Pontiac a fine reputation for performance, economy, comfort, dependability, and easy handling over a period of 14 years. But greatest of all of Pontiac's features is Pontiac's reputation for trouble-free performance. Over 2 million Pontiacs have already been built. Most of them are still running, many after more than 100,000 miles of operation. Now, one of the principal reasons for Pontiac's trouble-free performance has been the proper lubrication of all moving parts. All bearings receive an adequate supply of oil, and that oil is kept freed from injurious gases through Pontiac's crankcase ventilation system. For 1941, Pontiac introduces still greater engine protection, a permanent, full-flow, built-in oil cleaner that removes all of the grit and dirt from all of the oil before it reaches the engine bearing. And here we're going to show you just how it works. The filings which this young lady is putting into the bowl have already passed through a 30-mesh screen, the type of cleaner commonly used. Now, you will note that as the oil stream comes up through this tube, it is turned back until it strikes this shelf or baffle. Here it is turned again, flowing upward into the oil pump and onto the engine bearing. Now, as the oil stream strikes this baffle, it drops the grit and dirt, which is pushed off into the lower part of the bowl where it settles. Now, this filter is built right into the crankcase of the 1941 Pontiacs. It doesn't have to be attached with tubes which might leak or become clogged. There's no filter element to change, nothing more to buy. And best of all of the oil must pass through this cleaner before reaching the engine bearings. Now, with the type of oil filters commonly used, they are attached to a bypass so that only part of the oil is actually clean. Grits and dirt can pass through your engine bearings time and again without being removed. With Pontiac's new oil cleaner, you can see why this couldn't possibly happen. To you, this means longer engine life, longer trouble-free performance with a minimum of upkeep expense.
Now that we have shown you some of our magic, we cordially invite you to look over the 3 new series of cars which comprise our Pontiac torpedo fleet for 1941. The Custom Torpedo, the Streamliner Torpedo, and the Deluxe Torpedo. And don't forget, on all models, including the low-price Deluxe, you may have your choice of the new economical 90-horsepower 6-cylinder engine or the improved 103-horsepower 8-cylinder engine. Thank you.